Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of the PodKAT. With me, I have my boys as usual, Andrew, Tosin.
One.
That's good, bro. What's going on?
um, yeah. So today, I think one of the first things I want us to kind of speak about is kind of Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like this season, I'll say on average we've been a pretty, call it bad team or average team, somewhere around there. But somehow, like against like the top sides we've played so far, we don't seem like we're out of place, as the table suggests. And then like I'm just wondering what you guys think about that, like what the problem is.
I mean, initially, I was always saying Chelsea was going to pick up this year compared to last season. I think like first episode or so, I said it. I was always saying Man U was going to not be make it to
Yeah,
top four or maybe even top six. Luckily enough for Man U, they're still picking up some points here and there, even if they're playing trash.
yeah,
But Chelsea, on the other hand, they're actually playing amazing football, right? Like right now,
yeah,
like they're playing good football against the top teams. Like against Man City,
yeah,
they did amazing. That game was amazing. Even if it ended a draw, I feel like Chelsea actually balled that game.
yeah,
They showed that they were out to play, and I think Man City was kind of lucky with their goals were like lucky goals. So they were not really. There was not really any spectacular goal that they scored. Maybe one of Haaland's goals was spectacular, but the rest
yeah,
was controversial.
yeah,
So yeah, I feel like Chelsea's, they're back on top. They're getting that form, and I just want to see more consistency. I hope they can
yeah.
continue to
I
do
mean, one thing to just touch on from what you said, if I forget, is like I know like XG Warriors, guys don't. There's some guys that just don't like hearing that XG stuff, but it's like with Chelsea, I think we've played 12 games this season. 11 of those games we've had more XGs than the other team, right?
Sorry,
Meaning,
what's XG's for
like
understand?
okay, so XG is essentially expected goals for anyone that doesn't know. So it's like just like we're creating chances, like we're we're playing away, open football, this one, that one, creating chances. We're meant to score. Like our biggest problem, obviously, is finishing, right? But it's like to your point, the team is playing well. Like the games we've lost, it's not a case of Chelsea had such a bad game and they didn't, they didn't deserve or couldn't have won that game. It's always a case of you go the first 50, 60 minutes of the game, all your chances, you aren't scoring. And Prem is the one place they'll punish you. So it's like your opponent, after sitting back for 60, 70 minutes, they're like, okay, now let's go play ball for the next 20 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
like that's how Chelsea has lost, if probably all their games they've lost this season. And again, it just shows that they're playing well, they're not converting. But when it comes to the bigger teams, I feel bigger teams don't sit back. Everyone has periods where they sit back. But it's like the more open you play with Chelsea, at least the Chelsea of this season, the likelier you're going to lose that game because they don't have to break down any deep blocks or anything. But when it just comes to like just tapping ball, like those guys are like pretty solid.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to finishing, honestly. That's what I've seen for the most part. I feel like if you guys had a striker, you'd be in a way different situation than you are now, right? Which is kind of the problem with, um, I want to say, with kind of overloading because, like, I feel like Chelsea signed a lot of good pieces, wingers, midfielders, but I think that like number 9 position for literally every team has to be so solid, where like you can always depend on that guy. Like this guy can give us 17 goals. Like Nicola Jackson might probably still get up to that, but I was having this conversation with you like
Yeah,
randomly like last week
yeah,
about like the striking difficulties that he's having, and for me, I just feel there's some chances that you need to bury. Like I don't know if you guys have seen the clip of Ateta and Pep talking about Sterling from Man City like a couple years ago when he missed 2 chances and Guardiola actually took him off after the second one, I think. And Guardiola told him the next day that yo, the reason why I took it was because you cannot afford to miss those chances, literally. And that's what teams don't realize is that you miss 1 or 2 chances in the beginning of the game, and you're like, we'll still score. These guys are a small team, we'll still beat them. But the thing is, that's not how the Premier League works. The
yeah,
small team scores one, they score another goal again, and it's a wrap. Like you're not really getting the chance to break them down or play. Now you're chasing the game, and the counter-attacking teams like Aston Villa, West Ham, those guys don't miss that many chances. They have a lot of quality players now that are burying those chances.
I was just going to say, just off the top of my head, Aston Villa, Brentford, just off the top of my head, those two teams beat us. Like the 3 goals they scored combined, because Aston Villa scored 1, was like counter.
Yeah.
Brentford, the 2 goals they scored counter, and it's just again we hold the whole game, control the whole game, and it just takes one moment, right? Those guys have their moment, they score, they don't waste chances. West Ham, they don't waste chances. You get.
I know that was first hand. Exactly what West Ham.
But they don't waste chances, man.
So I think you guys getting Kuku back, and then I don't know. Jackson might be your number 9. He might not. I don't know. Let's give him a chance.
I think Jackson will be fine. In all honesty, I think as long as he doesn't let the noise get to him, like I see him as like a very bright player. But would he eventually get the chance? Who knows? Because I've seen links of Chelsea to Nkuku, Tony, guys like that, like SM Nkuku, Osimhen, and Tony. It's like if Chelsea can get any of those guys, yeah, Jackson is not going to get any time to
prove
develop.
himself.
I feel like the only way he'll be lucky is if we don't buy any striker in January and he picks up from second half of the season.
Question: would you prefer they sign a striker, or you prefer they keep Jackson and grow his
I prefer we sign a striker boy in the summer, like actually give him a full season, and like.
So are you fine with that possibly costing you top 4?
I mean, I honestly feel we're like right now it doesn't look like we're making top 4. So for me, it's just like.
Season just a start now.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like.
But I mean, that's their only goal.
Projection wise.
So it's be a failure,
right?
Essentially.
I don't see it. It's possible, but yeah. And at the end of the day, I think at least within the Chelsea group or whatever, within the players, which is annoying to me as a fan. I feel like there are opportunities in money. Oh yeah, like this is meant to be the season we kind of gel and all that, and then we kind of go again next season type energy, which again, personally, I don't think that approach works, because at the end of the day, when you decide that, okay, yeah, we're good now, let's play ball, it's not like everyone else is just going to be watching you, waiting for you to be ready to play ball. Like, that's not how it works. And that's definitely not how it works in Prem. So I feel with Chelsea, when it comes to the big teams, they want to show themselves like, oh yeah, like we can play ball if we want to play ball. But it's like with the small teams, the urgency isn't there, and we have a lot of players at the end of the day. If we go this season and next season without adding another piece, we're not competing for Premier League or any major trophy, but that team is good enough to be in the top 4 if everything progresses as it should. You get.
For sure.
So again, I don't mind. Like, again, I'm more of a trophy. I'm more about the trophies, right? And Chelsea's not winning a trophy this season. I doubt they're winning a trophy next season. So if that's the case, I don't mind like focusing on development. Like, okay, you make top 4, you make champs, you're not winning champs. So it's like, what are you really going to do? It's more of experience and blah 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 blah.
What about the money?
Bro, I'm a fan, bro. I don't get on your money, so I could care less about the money.
It helps the club. Like, it's like
not Chelsea in this case, though.
But if you look at like smaller teams now that are like mid-table teams, like the reason why they are still in Premier League is because of the money.
Yeah,
not Chelsea.
Point, like they're not Chelsea's
mid-table team now.
Yeah, but they don't like. If Chelsea they've missed champs this season. I think last weekend we made last season. If they miss champs 2 seasons in a row, 3 seasons in a row, like that's not doing anything. Like obviously the money is missing, but Chelsea are not going into crisis because they didn't receive money from Champions League for 3 seasons in a row.
Okay, no worries. That's not the money I'm talking about, but it's fine. It's deeper than that.
anyways, I guess for a round of this topic, like that game, City versus Chelsea, that's the maddest game I've watched.
I also think it's probably one of the most chaotic games out there.
It was so chaotic.
It had everything, bro. So
as I was watching the game, I was just like, bro, I wish I wasn't a Chelsea fan in this moment, so I could actually
enjoy the game
because I was under so much pressure.
I think games like that, I wish like we all watched it together, or like we're at a bar or
Yeah,
something. That would have been crazy.
It's a good game to watch from a neutral.
yeah,
From
bro.
like
Yeah,
my point of view, I was in my babe and I was like, "Yo, let's watch this match. This thing is
yeah. The
crazy,"
game was crazy,
and it
man.
just reminded me of the World Cup final because games that end with multiple goals and draw, they're always entertaining.
Yeah.
That's just it. Like the Arsenal Newcastle 4-4 a long time ago,
Yeah.
entertaining. This one entertaining. So I think when there's plenty goals and it ends as a draw is mad
And
entertaining.
one thing that impressed me about Chelsea, I won't lie, is we were down 2 or 3 times in that game, and not once did they like put their head down. Like all through the game, like they kept playing like
Because they played better, and the goals that they considered were like their mistakes. So it was like they knew that they
yeah.
could score more. They
See,
were
like
like they will score. Don't
one game
worry.
that pained me was Arsenal's game. If I catch that Sanchez guy, like bro, I was so confident going into that game, and then we scored two, and I'm like yes, like almost like I knew it, right, and we're playing well, and then that guy just decided to sell the game, bro. I almost entered the ground, and after that, I think we watched the game together,
Yeah, we
and
did.
after the 2-1, I like
It was inevitable.
exactly.
Yeah.
I've watched footy so many times. It's just like you just know, like yeah,
It was obvious.
this game is definitely going to end the tie.
I wasn't really
I was
following the game, but I knew that something was going to
I was
happen.
Yeah,
almost
because
scared. I was hoping we
you
won't
don't
lose.
give
Self.
away a goal like that
Yeah,
when you're
man.
2-0.
Yeah, man.
It's like you're giving a team hope,
Morale.
morale, and something where they didn't even have to work for. So it's like
Exactly.
you guys are helping us. Okay, thank
And
you.
there are
Let's take
certain teams
advantage of
there are
this
certain teams you don't give that chance to. Arsenal is now one of those teams.
for
Whereas it's
sure.
just like if they are having a bad day and you just give them something where it's just like, okay, you know what? Let's ginger these guys. Bro,
But
they'll respond.
what I like about the City, as a neutral fan, like obviously both teams tied or City tied, so Liverpool have a better chance of
Yeah.
pushing for that spot. But one thing I liked was for a team that's looking to play City next, we've seen certain opportunities or angles where we can take advantage of. Like we've never been a team to be scared of playing City. But I think with that game, it just kind of gives us another angle to be like, oh, so this is where we can expose them because City look very terrifying on paper, and then also when you like look at the previous like games that they've played in a row, maybe they've won like 5 or 6 in a row. You're just like, how do you beat these guys?
You know,
But as a Liverpool fan going into this game right now, we know we can score a lot of goals. We know like the defense isn't great. We just need to find angles that we can really, really like take advantage of. So
the thing, I guess, to wrap it up, Sha, the thing with City is, I don't know if you guys remember, like back, like say like what's this guy's name? Ferguson days, right?
mhm.
When he had United, like the OG United, Ferdinand, Rooney, all those guys. Like City now reminds me of them in the sense that like you can see teams are scared of City. You get, and bro, when you watch certain teams like even Chelsea 04, 05, like they won so many games based off of these guys are scared of us.
Yeah,
Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like they are at a disadvantage because they come there where it's just like, oh more, if you can get the points, we've won this game. Do you get what I'm
yeah,
saying? So they have no interest in actually even trying to exploit the weaknesses of the other team. Let's just sit back and try our best, right? And I feel like with City, that's how everyone plays City these days, right? But it's only the teams that are willing to like come out and play them that would actually stand a chance. Because, but if everyone plays City that way, they would still win most of those games. But like City isn't having 90 something point seasons back to back to back to back because again, as a small team, you're just sitting down waiting for them to score really and truly because they would break you down eventually. Right. So I feel with City, man, that's really it. And again, Chelsea just felt like, oh, this is an opportunity to show that we're not scared of these guys. Right.
yeah.
So like let's push.
You know what? I feel like with the Chelsea game, I kind of didn't want the international break. Like I was like 4-4, let's go, man. Next week, like
I wanted Chelsea to win just because of the table.
Yeah. Obviously, I wanted Chelsea to win as well, but I'm like, I don't want international break. And then you go like you play like the Euro qualifiers, and then like you have guys that like the injuries. You have like Haaland didn't even go finish the game for Norway. Guy was saying he's injured now. He's fit to play the game. So I don't know. But I think with the Euros coming up, I feel like England is definitely favorites to win.
Bro, they're always favorites. I don't know why you're saying that like this.
Where's the Euros going to be played this next year?
Okay. I think it's next year actually.
Yeah, where's it? I think
I'm
is
not-
it in Germany?
I actually have no clue.
Don't know, I'll
But
check
yeah,
it.
Euros like I feel like obviously you have England, you have France, Germany.
It's in Germany.
It's in
Germany
Germany,
aren't
right?
serious enough for me to consider them contenders. Like the major contenders to me, France and England.
Havertz in left back for Germany. That's hilarious, man. Honestly, they're just
Bruh,
experimenting
man.
with that guy at this point,
Yeah,
just to
man,
revive his career.
Because I like I've said this many times on this pod. The problem we have with is he's not very good at anything. So he doesn't even have like a primary position where it's just like, oh, this is this guy's position. If you put him here, you're sure to get 7/10, for instance, right? He doesn't have one such position. It's just always based off some sort of vibe.
Yeah. So who would you say? Who do you have for the Euros?
Honestly, I would just want England to win something in my lifetime. I've not seen them win. I've only seen them bow out in a very like emotional, sad way. So I think they
Yeah.
deserve something.
And they're always talented.
Yeah, it's a talented
They always
team.
they always
Even on FIFA,
have
this
like
and
top
that,
three
so-
most
I think it's the
talented
pressure.
team.
The same thing with Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil too.
But
Sure.
I've seen Brazil win
Yeah.
multiple times, so that's why.
Do you know
I
what
mean,
it
they
is,
won
though?
Copa. They won a lot of things as well previously.
I feel one of the biggest problem in England is whoever their manager is. I feel like you just have to put your foot down and have your team in terms of like, this is my starting 11. Do you get
But-
and have your identity?
But that becomes an issue because now if he says, okay, my starting 11 is going to have Maguire in it because that's what he's doing. Everybody's like, why are you choosing Maguire? Like, why can't you
No,
choose a
but
better-
that's a different.
Bro,
I'm
the
talking. I'm
players,
talking
if you have
about
a
like
starting
formation.
I'm talking about like England in the last 10, 15 years. I'm not talking about Southgate right now. I'm just saying like England's problem is. I'm just saying England's problem is they try to give everyone a chance. They try to. It's like, oh, we have 5 wingers playing well for top 6 clubs in this thing. It's
They
like,
bring
okay, that's
on-
great.
yeah.
But who is your starting
For sure.
winger? Who's your starting left winger? Who's your starting right winger? Like have that. Because at the end of the day, like these guys, like how many international games do they really play in a year to get chemistry and all that? That you have, say they play say 10, 15 qualifier games or whatever the case is. In the 10, 15, say I'm a CB. I've played with 5 or 6 different CBs. Competition will now start. All of a sudden, I'm meant to have understand. Like you get what I'm saying? Like chemistry matters. And
Wait, sorry. Are you saying that you prefer them to be consistent with their
yeah, like they should
With
be
their-
That's what I'm
consistent.
saying. Like when they are consistent,
But you're picking out Maguire. I'm not talking
No,
about
but
Maguire.
for example, right? We're looking
You're
at
singling out Maguire.
we're looking at like the team as a whole. Like for example, I don't know why Arnold was playing in midfield for England this past couple of like games. Like there was no reason for like why are you experimenting that? You have so
Also,
many
like
midfielders.
you see,
in there.
Rhys James has played CB for them. He has played
Like
right
Rico
back for
Lewis,
them.
you bring
He has
on,
played
you bring
right
like
wing
I
back.
understand you giving people opportunities, but then I don't know why you need a player like Rico Lewis. Like there's so
You
many.
don't.
Like
I agree with what you're saying, but I'm saying if you're going to experiment or make decisions or make changes, when are you going to do? Isn't it now in qualifiers?
But
Well,
they're always doing that, like always. So it's like, at what point do you give your actual players a run of games?
Problem of too many players to select.
That's my
That
point.
problem would never go.
Yes, and that's what I'm
No matter
saying.
what they choose, there's always going to be a better choice. You're always going to be like, this guy would have played here, this guy would have played here.
You're making my point for me, which is why I'm saying
That's
like
what I'm saying.
until they have a manager that can put his foot down and make a choice,
That's
they
what-
would
what
always
I'm
be in
saying
this
is if they
position.
make that choice, we're still going to come here and say like, this guy could have done this in a better way. They should have been because they have that many
well, but you
options.
don't know because you're not out
Exactly.
here exploring all these things. Like if I know you agree with me when I say Rico Lewis should not be like you don't need that guy on that team. You don't need. I mean, Kopama has been good, but like there's so many wingers that can play that position. You don't need Kopama there. Like there's so many other positions where they try different things,
Oh,
and it does that. Like if you notice compared to other teams, other countries, they don't have that sort of like just trial and error.
No, they
Like
do.
guys, see,
Brazil
guys,
goes
okay,
through
okay,
the
guys,
same
see, okay,
exact
see
phase.
France. France is
Well,
the
Brazil-
perfect-
Too much
France is the
talent.
perfect.
You have to go through
France is
that
the perfect
phase.
example. France has just as many talent as England and Brazil, right? But France have their team. All those other guys, sure, they give them opportunities in games that I guess don't really matter. But guy, if France wants to win a game, you know their lineup from keeper to this thing. With a team like England, okay, we have Hurricane that starts.
Probably
You
Bellingham.
know, there's like, yeah, I mean Bellingham now, you know he's starting, right? Like England have like maybe five
like
players
Henderson still
that's like,
plays.
oh, 5 players that are starting. Do you get what I'm saying? So just like, bro, how do you have a manager that has been managing a team for the last, say, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the case is, and you don't actually have a starting lineup?
Declan Rice didn't start
That's
the
the
one of
problem.
their games too as well. It's very confusing.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just saying like it's just going to be it's a tough job, and it's not as easy as we are looking at it. It's not
For sure,
Yeah,
for
it's not-
sure.
yeah,
he has a pool of over 200 players.
Yeah.
And like everybody's very talented.
I-
And he's obviously not the only one making decisions. He has people that are in his ear telling him this guy is good, this guy is good, this guy deserves a call up, this guy deserves a call up. At the end of the day, like
But call-ups are even different. Like I feel like call-up is where you're like, okay, deserving players get call-ups. Do you get what I'm saying?
I don't think they need to play though.
Yes, that's my point. Like they call you up does not mean you need to play. We have guys that are on Chelsea's bench every game. Their last 10 games they've been on the bench. They've not seen 30 minutes of playing time. You're not good enough.
I feel you.
Right? But I feel until they have a manager that can just kind of, again, to your point, is a difficult job. But at the end of the day, to win, you have to make difficult decisions, right? So I feel like that's one of the most difficult decisions any English manager will have to make, where it's like, this is my starting 11. Anybody has a problem with it, sure, media can make all the noise, but you have to not be affected by that. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I guess we could let's talk about some NBA basketball. I think NBA has been pretty interesting this.
There's a like
Interesting.
if you guys listen to the last episode, I think we spoke a lot about how the NBA has kind of transitioned into like a big three for each team, and everyone has like pieces to fill out the entire roster. And I think we're seeing more and more of that with like the Timberwolves at the first team in the West now.
Yeah.
You have a team like Philly who are actually very surprised. I don't even know who would be the big three in that situation. I guess Tyrese Maxey,
is they have more of a
Embiid,
big two, man.
probably a big two, and they
Maybe
have
Tobias Harris.
hell no.
No. Like I'm not saying as the big three. I'm
Oh.
saying like
No, they have a bunch
like,
of people to
yeah.
fill out the roster, but because Tobias Harris is probably one of the guys in the NBA that has the easiest jobs. The guy makes 120 mil, and no one looks at him whenever anything goes bad. You know, he's been that guy. Like James Harden was on that team, he didn't get any stick for that. Jim Butler was on that team, there was no stick for Tobias Harris. Ben Simmons was there, no one said anything about Tobias
it's not
Harris.
good enough at the end of the day. So
Well, but he's making 120 mil, and like there should be some expectations from Tobias Harris. He should be in consideration for an All-Star, but he's never there. He's not even as good as Pascal Siakam, and I think they make close to the same amount of money.
Yeah, I think prior to like we had this conversation on one of our previous episodes about James Harden, and I think personally, from what I've been watching for the past 1 week and a half, I think he's proved me wrong.
James Harden.
Yeah.
He's playing good basketball at the moment. Like at the moment, he can. James Harden can be stupid. So, but at the moment, he's playing very good basketball.
I agree with you. I think.
Wait, why don't you agree?
I don't agree.
Why don't you agree though?
Like sure, he's playing good basketball in terms of standards of like playing good basketball. Like he's not a bad player on the team, but I'm like when I look at James Harden, all I'm seeing is a player that if you're adding to your team, you guys should win, and I just don't see it happening. So it's just like
they're literally on a winning streak.
Bro, I could care less about what they do in the regular season. Like they can go 8-2-0 for all I care.
True.
That doesn't matter to me. James Harden has never had a problem in the regular season. Like I don't have any judgment to make right now because again it's the regular season. I'm just going to wait for them to actually.
Yeah, but based off of that, I can see why you wouldn't see the impact of James Harden here, because based on how they're playing, if you look at the progression of how good they can get, I don't still see them beating the team who comes out of the East, or beating the team who comes out of like the next best team that's in the West. Like I don't see Clippers beating them, 4 games out of 7. So that's the issue that I think most people are having. It's like, okay, you guys have these 3 superstars that are possibly Hall of Famers too, right? And they're not guaranteeing you a title.
Yeah, too many cooks in the kitchen, man. I feel like that is going to be their biggest problem.
I feel like Westbrook is still playing trash. Like I've not seen like okay, this what happened. Like
He's coming off the
2 days
bench now,
ago.
though.
Yeah, 2 days ago I was eating and watching like the game. So I look back and I saw him shoot an air ball. I was like, okay, air balls just once, you know. And then I just, sit down to enjoy the game and then shoot another air ball. I'm like, And then I start eating and this guy shot another air ball, 3 air balls in like 2 minutes, bro. Relax.
Yeah, I think the issue
Even his dunks are air balls now.
the issue with Westbrook is that he's trying so hard to play the part of a guy that can fit in. Like he actually doesn't know like what he's meant to do at this point. Like he's been an MVP, he's done everything, he's been on all these guys' levels. Like they've been the same kind of category of players. They've all been MVP like candidates at some point in their lives. Some have even won it, right? But the issue is that Westbrook at this point is the one being joined to their team. Like they're adding him as like an X factor. Like, okay, we're gonna add you to our team. Let's see what you can do for us, in the long run. But I don't think he knows exactly where they need him to be.
Yeah.
That's why he decided to come off the bench. He's not sure if he should score, if he should assist. Like I think it's a very confusing thing to figure out during the season.
I think the only thing they can do with Westbrook that would make sense is it just has to be a thing of almost like making a second team within the same team.
Yeah.
And making the second unit fit Westbrook's style of play. So that way, when you have Westbrook and the second unit, you just know like almost like Westbrook can actually be himself and play his way, right? Because again, I feel like that's the only way it can really work because Westbrook can do that. Like Westbrook can play with a bunch of guys that are not that good. Like see what he did at OKC before he left. Like he can carry a bunch of guys. Obviously, he's not as good anymore when it comes to like even shooting the ball, and certain things. But again, the whole idea is like, okay, you're just meant to like put the game, kind of like balance the game out. Like, if we left, if the first unit comes out, they're winning 10 points. Try as much as possible to keep it within like 5 to 10 points by the time they're back, right? Like that's the idea. No one is telling you to come here and do the impossible, right? So
I hope they can make that clear to him though, because I don't think he's getting that clear-cut message about this is what we need you to do. I think the whole thing is they're always saying, "Oh, we're just figuring it out," but it's better as a coach to let the player know, "Hey, this is where we need you within the system." Like, I think because there's so many egos involved, so many superstars, there's some form of lack of like transparency where it's like, yo, we know you're an MVP, we know you took the vet minimum, we know you took blah blah blah, but this is where we need you because we have these 3 guys that we want to really build a team around. We want to build the starting lineup around these guys.
and I want one more thing with Westbrook though is I feel he's also got to a point in his career where I think he's honestly just like, I'm just here to play. Like I don't think Westbrook is coming to work every morning on some
I want to win a championship.
You get what I'm saying? Like from his attitude, from his comments in the last 2-3 years, that guy is just dead to like he could care less. And literally, bro, he could care less. Like he's not on some mission anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
I think some players just need to accept that you're not going to win a championship.
Like Chris Paul.
Like Chuck. And he's okay.
Bro, Chuck is like 40 years.
And that is his identity. That he was an amazing player that never won a championship. I think plenty of players should accept that you can't win and it's fine. Yeah. But you're successful and you can be a Hall of Famer but never win a ring. It's just normal.
Yeah.
And I think some players still find it hard to accept that. Like all these Chris Paul people. I don't know what he's looking for.
But I don't think Chris Paul, obviously from a competitive perspective, you would say he's trying to win a championship Golden State. But deep down, there's no way that guy thinks he can win a championship with that team. There's like you guys say like there's the part of like why like we're never going to back down from a fight. From any one type people. It's like they tell you, guy, put your money on your team to win. It's going to do that.
You know what's funny? It might not be the exact same thing, but I never thought Golden State were going to win another title after the KD era.
I agree.
So I think that's what Chris Paul might be banking on. But the talent is different. The level of talent in the
Kuminga is not doing anything.
Yeah,
especially Kuminga stuff like it's different. Like guy, like
if you look at the other teams in the NBA right now, it doesn't make sense.
True. Yes, I also think the level of competition now is much higher than last.
Because who did you guys have to beat? You had to beat the Denver Nuggets,
Grizzlies,
and Grizzlies don't even count, to be honest, man.
Grizzlies, and Dallas. Like that's who we had to go through in the West, and none of them were
And
like
Jamal Murray was injured,
yes,
right?
Nuggets had just Jokic essentially. Grizzlies I feel would have won
But he
regardless
got
of full team
injured.
or not, but like Morant got
Morant
injured
got
at some
injured.
point, and then I mean Dallas had only Luka. Like there was
Yeah.
there was no way Golden State were losing that, right? And then Celtics were like their only real test, and it was just a matter of I I guess I would
Experience.
say Corey, I
And
guess
Curry.
experience, but like Corey was the reason that they won that series because he was the reason essentially. And then a part of it obviously was Wiggins stepping up more than anyone expected. And then you also have Tatum and Brown playing their parts of like breaking when their team needed them the most. So it's like, and I always say when it comes to championships, like there are very few times the team you expect to win actually wins because it's never ever the perfect scenario.
Yeah, but I mean, if Chris Paul is banking on that, then he's fucking mistaken, honestly,
Yeah,
because
it is.
ain't no way Golden State winning anything with
Yeah.
this team. If we can even look at, I mean, since they lost
We'll be
Draymond
lucky to even make it to the
playoffs,
Yeah,
I think
at
since
this
they
point.
lost, not even since they lost Draymond, but
Like,
you guys
they
have been
fell asleep
struggling
below.
for a while now,
We were
right?
struggling, like even and we started the season well in terms of results. But I remember when we were having that discussion about the impact Chris Paul is having. I'm just like, bro, this is not going to last long. You get what I'm saying? Sure, we're winning games. I'm like, I'm watching the games. Like this is not a team that is better or much better than their
Teams,
opponents.
it was more so
Corey just started the season on some nice tier. Like I mean, when the first 8 games or so, only Corey has scored over 20 points for the team. Like in a team where Klay Thompson is playing, Wiggins is playing. Like you get what I'm saying? So that team is just, and the problem is I always say like the team is too old.
Yeah,
The team is just too old.
I would
right?
say
and those young players are not ready to like take over.
take that leap. Yeah, I would say that Golden State are now more of a. They've always been a Curry team, but at some point it was more of a Splash Bros.
Mhm.
It was a combination of the difficulty of playing versus two really good shooters. But now you're kind of playing with a Curry centric team. It's like
Yeah.
if Curry doesn't play well, Golden State don't really
Yeah,
stand a chance, right?
And Splash Bros era ended that year. Raptors won this thing.
Yeah, after the injury.
I feel so bad for Klay Thompson because that might be the best I've ever seen him. Like he was so good at everything he did. Even the finals, I was saying how I'm like, if Warriors win this series, Klay Thompson can win finals MVP. Like
Because Curry was injured.
no, Curry played all through.
Curry played all
Curry
through.
played all through. He was balling too. But it's like Klay Thompson was just so freaking efficient.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
Clay was so freaking efficient, bro. Like he was
Colin
Colin
came back and he still
Yeah, he was
like he was, and he spoke about it after where it's just like he felt like he was on a different level. Like he was like that was the highest he has ever felt about. Yeah, bro. Like it's like bro, like the way he was playing, like even he was like, bro, man, like I'm on a different level. And unluckily for him, if that injury didn't happen, I feel like we would have seen like a next level Klay Thompson for like 2-3 seasons.
For sure. What would you guys say is your biggest issue right now as a team, like the Warriors?
We're just small, and people that are tall, the centers. Well, I don't say centers, but the people that are meant to play center and be the big men in the team are lazy. That's just what I see.
Yeah, I don't think it's laziness though. Who, Looney? Or
Looney doesn't get the rebounds anymore. The reason
He's old, man.
It's not even just that he's old. No, Looney's not. Looney's still less than 30. Oh yeah.
No, he just looks old. I keep forgetting.
But guy, it's like, see, you have to understand something, right? If I'm fighting against someone that is bigger than me, or I don't say much bigger, but like just say noticeably bigger than me, guy, it takes double the effort to be fighting with guys like that. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just like there's only so much you can do. Or there's only how long you can actually want to put in that much energy to every rebound, like trying to box out every time, trying to outsmart. And Looney is not the most aggressive type of player. Like he's just more. He's always been more of a like, I guess, just IQ type, like positioning himself in places where like he's at an advantage. So it's like things like that to me. Like at some point, man, it's not going to work as much because the opponents you're playing to, like, they're not stupid, right? So it's tough. Like we're a small team.
And we're meant to play to that advantage, but we don't even play to the small advantage. We just
But the reason we're not playing to the advantage is because we're not shooting well. That's the plain and simple. Like every game we lose, we should. I think something about like shooting less than 40% from threes, and we probably take the most threes or at least top 5 threes in the league and everything. So just like when our threes are not dropping, we almost cannot win the game. Like it's almost impossible because we're a jump shooting team.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I just feel the team is just too old, man.
And if you just throw in the fact that Draymond Green is a crazy person, you know, like I'm not even one to really
Draymond,
like
man.
judge people or throw out words like that. But honestly, I feel like Draymond has just done so many has made so many rash decisions, like has done so many, for lack of a better word, crazy things, to be honest, in the NBA, and he always finds a way to play the victim, right? You know, especially when your behavior and your characteristics, like they allow people to picture you a certain way. So like when you do something, you're always going to be judged based on what you've done previously. Like Draymond might make a hard foul, and people are like, "Bro, you're trying to get me injured," and he's like, "Nah, like I'm just, you know, it's just a hard foul." But because of what you've done in the past, people are gonna look at you that way. It's just how you play. It's kind of like a pattern as well. Kind of how people used to see. What's the name of that guy that plays with the Suns now? Allen.
Oh yeah, Grayson
Allen. Like people think every time the guy does something that is remotely even like hard or anything like that, they're like, this guy's a dirty player. We already know Draymond is dirty, but choking Rudy Gobert was just. I'm lost for words, man. Honestly,
but before you play that, you know what? I feel that's the first time I'm actually like, yeah, Draymond, I think you took it too far. As funny as all the crazy things that Draymond has done, you know, I mean, outside of punching pool, because that one wasn't on an NBA court. Like this is the first time I'm like, okay, guy, you took it too far. Because every other time, I'm always like, again, to your point, which I think is fair, is like there's the Draymond factor. There's the like this guy is always, you know, on the edge essentially. So it's like, man, this guy's always on the edge. Like some part of you has to want to do those things, right? But it's like most of the things Draymond does, again, my opinion, when you isolate those moments, is like for me, it's just like, bro, like NBA, there are NBA players that have done this, but like no one cares. You get what I'm saying? But it's Draymond, and that's why sometimes I understand when he's like, oh, you know, he's trying to form the Draymond rule. But I'm like, bro, you have a part to play in that. Like, you know, let's not act like, you know, you're some innocent bystander, and you know, like he loves to play the villain sometimes. Like the other time, I think Grizzlies they ejected him for something, and then you know he started riding up the crowd and everything, and it's like, bro, like you know what you're doing. Like, and at the end of the day, these referees, they're all human beings too, in the sense that like they can also be tired of your shit.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of them are, to be honest, because they let him get away with a lot of things. Like I feel like a lot of times when players yell at refs, they let Draymond. Like the last time Jokic went at the ref, recently, I think yesterday or something, he got ejected. Draymond does that every game.
Yeah. Draymond does
but
that every game.
I think the refs are just like, okay, that's just his temperament. Like that's who Draymond is. But then you can't allow that kind of reputation in the league, and then you're mad when they actually eject you. Like, why would you go and strangle a guy 1 minute into the game, 0-0? Like,
okay, let me go into my devil's advocate now. So I understand why he did what he did, but obviously he did it too far. But I understand why he did it. So NBA is more like how I see NBA basically is like it's like a brotherhood. Like every team is like a brotherhood, and if like let's say we're in the same team, and let's say another guy from another team challenges you in a weird way, and I don't come to defend you, right? It just shows that there's no there's no union in that team. Like there's no defense, and when next I play you, you're always going to be afraid of him because you know I already have that upper hand on you. But I understand that he should have. But if you look at it well, if you look at the optics, Rudy already was about to start strangling or strangled Clay a little bit. That was why he strangled him back. But
there was no strangling from Rudy Gobert.
He literally touched his neck for like a second or so. But no, boy, guy was not about to strangle. Was not about to strangle. Guy was not about to strangle him. Guy, relax, man.
He wasn't even.
He touched his neck, but you're acting like he wanted to grab him like this. Guy, you're bugging, man.
I swear,
no, he touched his neck. I'm not disagreeing, but if you look at that, if Draymond was not there for the next 3 seconds, for instance, Klay Thompson was not going to end up in a strangled position
How do
from
you
Rudy
know?
Gobert. Because
In
that
what
was
sense?
clearly
How
not
would
the
he have
intention.
strangled
Like,
him?
But what was he with his neck?
I think he had his hand. I think he had his
didn't
hand
hold
on
his
his
neck. It's just
chest
one of
or
those things where,
something.
like,
Draymond
he tried, the first thing he tried to do.
diffused that situation, but he overdid it.
Guy,
It's like when
I'm
fight,
sorry, I'm not going to agree with that.
It's like when you're trying to settle a fight and then you end up actually like fighting the person that you're trying to settle. That's what happened.
Yeah, but we're talking about a chokehold versus
Yeah,
someone.
he overdid it, but I understand why he did it. But he just overdid it. That's the issue.
Yeah,
I don't think I don't think there was ever a reason for him to have Rudy Gobert in a
Exactly.
chokehold.
Like there's no
like
reason.
1 second, yes.
No,
No.
not even 1 second.
Bro,
There's
people choke each other. Even Messi choked somebody last week.
Yeah, but this way,
does not mean
Yeah.
it's,
you can. Like players do all the time. They shove
I'm
each other. They push
facing
each other.
you.
I'm facing you.
but it's like
You
he
can't-
literally went behind him, man. Like
That's
bro,
a UFC. I think he should. I think Dana White can actually look into like Draymond possibly. Versus
But
I don't know.
But how I see it now is going forward into our next games with the team.
Timberwolves is to be
Timberwolves.
heated.
It will be heated, and that's because Draymond has said that.
But this guy already set the tone though. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like coming into the game from jump ball, like they were ready to go.
It was
at
0-0, man.
Like they were ready to go at each
Or
other.
like it was 0 on
And it started from the game before because
Yeah.
we
I
played,
know,
we
I
played
know.
them like maybe
Like,
2 days
two
before.
so
2
yeah.
days before.
So
Yeah.
it's like coming into the next game, like Warriors were ready to kill those guys in terms of like yes, we're here. So I feel like that's the edge. Like that was the mood Draymond Green was like. I guess maybe they just had the team talk right before, so that everybody was gingered. So
why are we acting like the fuse wasn't triggered by Timberwolves? They started putting on the shirt now.
No, Clay did, bro. What are you watching?
No.
Like-
But Tosin, that's not like Clay didn't, because at the end of the day,
Put the
like
shirt, bro.
every single play, like an NBA player's hand is on another NBA player's hand. That's not enough to start that.
Yeah,
So
but if we're looking at
so
that,
after that-
specific situation, Clay had the guy's jersey.
Yeah, no, but he had his hand on his jersey, right? And then I can't remember how we played out exactly, but then something happened. Like he tried to do something with Clay's hand, and then next thing he grabbed his jersey or some funny stuff like that. So it's like Clay's hand was on him. Like it's like you're guarding a shooter. Someone is here. Like NBA players leave their hand out. Like
No, but he
every
had his
single
jersey.
time.
He wasn't just pushing him
No, his
back.
hand was there, but like he wasn't holding like.
He was
wasn't-
actually holding his jersey.
Like I watched because I watched that clip so many times because I'm like it was, I think it was Jenny McDaniel or whatever. I'm just like, bro, like NBA players do that every time. Like that's not enough for that level of reaction. Yeah, Clay's hand was on your jersey. Like Clay's hand, like maybe it was tied, like maybe like you know how like maybe like I just pull you small or some shit like that. It's like that happens. But to now drag him down because of that is just like Brandon. Obviously, once he held Clay's shirt, I feel like Clay didn't want to be dragged on the floor or something. So Clay too now like properly held onto his shirt. It was like okay now. And then he even went as far as like tearing his jersey.
Yeah, but what about the stats that says every time Curry's not playing,
That
Draymond
was
finds a way to
hilarious,
get
all
ejected? I think.
Was that really a stat? Well, that's what Rudy Gobert said.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
but
there's
there's actually a stat
I think
that
his last 7 out of 10 or something
Yeah.
like that Curry hasn't played.
Bro, it's
Yeah,
Draymond-
no, his last 7 ejections out
It's
of 10 or
coincidence.
something like
You
that.
think
Guys,
so?
I don't think so, though. Because
You
he does
think- you think
extra
November-
dumb. He does
That
extra
means-
dumb things.
But think about his coincidence, because why would you?
It's not
that means he's taking
coincidence.
his team. He's taking Curry over his team.
No, let me explain.
No,
why
because he knows he's
it's never
going to
important.
lose.
It's never important game. Guy, you know what? Before Rudy said that,
It's funny.
there are games where I'm just like, you can tell Draymond Green does not want to be on this court right now. So he's just lazy, right? So it's like lazy fouls, lazy, like yeah, he's just lazy. Where it's just like again, it's not like he's actively trying to get kicked out of the game, but it's just like, bro, you can be better, but he just chooses to be lazy. So it's like, whatever happens, I know, like I don't want to be suffering out here with these young games anyway. So I don't mind being out of this game.
If that's true, then the Draymond needs to see it. He needs to see a doctor, man. Guys,
No, but Draymond averaged a triple single when Curry was injured. Like we've seen what Draymond can do without Curry. Like we know how terrible he is, and he's always Draymond is nothing without Curry and Clay. But even worse without Curry. Like without Curry, Draymond is probably
I
one
won't
of the
say
most
nothing, but-
average players in the
Even
league.
I
if Draymond
disagree
gets
though.
traded,
No, I
man, his ass
disagree.
is in the
Like
his
he's
ass is in the
definitely
sky.
significantly worse without those guys because he has modeled his game around them. But he's not a bad basketball player without them.
Yeah, but Draymond wouldn't be like a top 150 or 200 player without Curry.
I disagree because guys can have their identity like just being very good defenders, and Drummond is one of the best defenders
Yeah, but
in
you can
this thing.
expose Draymond a lot more because you're not. He might have to do more offensively, so he won't be able to like carry
No,
as much defensively.
I feel he will just handle the ball a little bit more depending on the team or whatnot. And then obviously I always say like the lack of what's it called? Like throughout Drummond's career, like he has kind of like downgraded like every season because he's seen less of the ball offensively, or he has turned to like a point guard ish, almost like how LeBron plays point guard. Right. So just like he doesn't have shooting responsibilities. So like if you're not shooting in games, like obviously you're going to progressively get worse. So that definitely has a part to play. But it's like obviously people forget that there are seasons when, Warriors didn't have as much scoring power where Drummond was almost averaging 20 points, like shooting 38,
20
39.
points.
Almost. I'm
No,
not.
no. I thought you were going to say 11. I don't think
No. Definitely at least somewhere around 15, if not more. And then his shooting percentage from threes were always like 38, 39%. Like at least like back to back seasons or something like that. So just like again, like Drummond now, obviously, there's age factor, there's factor of like you've played with some of the best shooters in NBA history for the
won
last
everything.
10 years. Like so just like obviously it's not that good, but it's like if you're saying Draymond when he was at his best in terms of like all round, especially offensively, like he's definitely not like a horrible player. Or even an average player in my opinion. Let me see if I can actually.
No, Draymond is obviously an average.
But right now,
I don't know
yes,
why,
1000%.
He's not had an average career, but he's an average player.
Very much so. I think even when again, like
Nah,
I
he's
said,
not an
when
average.
Curry was out, he had the chance to do something, if at all. Like this guy was averaging, I think 6, 3, and 5 or something. Like he was terrible.
But not every player
No,
is
that's
built
his- that's his kind
to
of- yeah.
carry a team or like.
Doesn't have to carry a team, but you can average 6, 3, and 5.
But he's doing other things on the court aside from making points and
6,
stats.
3, and 5.
Yeah,
That is rebounds and assists.
There's other things you can be doing.
I don't think he was getting. I don't think Draymond was averaging like 4 or 5 steals a game.
There's other things, bro.
Like what?
Like pre-assist.
Yeah, so I mean he averaged 14 points. That's his highest
It
actually.
has to be. There's no way
And
Draymond was
then
averaging 20
3
plus.
from
control the team
From 3
set
point, probably like
limits,
36,
protect the
34.
team. He's doing other
yeah,
things,
like
bro.
so 38. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What season was this? Yeah, so it's the season he averaged 14. So this was 2015-16 season. And it was averaging 38% from threes. And like the season before it was 34, 34. And then he just progressively got worse.
What is he shooting right now? Or the
I mean,
last
right
season?
now, stats are
It's still-
still
it's so early.
45%
Oh,
from
okay.
three,
Yeah, he hasn't shot
What
much.
about last year?
30%.
He doesn't shoot much, so shouldn't not be something we should be looking at.
No, but
If you
no,
shoot
but yeah,
less,
shot
your
bad. Like for
percentage
instance,
should
like
be better.
Yeah.
prior to that season, like 27%, 28%, 30%.
Did you say 27?
Yeah, from threes. That's not like there are so many NBA players that have such percentage from threes. But my whole point, Sha, is like Draymond was not that guy's on the ball, like look the other way. If you left Draymond, like there was a good 3 seasons that if you leave Draymond free or not contested enough, he would drain the 3. Like, do you get what I'm saying? And when it comes to ball handling, like he has always had that, like an eye for making the right pass and things like that. And then defensively, since I'm watching basketball, that Golden State, like he has been ever present defensively, like always. So it's just like for an NBA player, again, there's so many NBA players that like see guys like Dillon Brooks, for instance. He's not even that great a defender to me or good a defender like that, but just like he makes his living off of defense.
You mix threes too.
Yeah, from time to time, but it's like if you look at his averages, that guy's averaging 10 points, 11 points, like thereabouts, right? No one considers him an average player or bad player or less, right? So,
But he wouldn't fall into the top 100 category either. And
but Drummond is definitely no Dillon Brooks. Well,
Yeah.
you can think so, but I don't think Drummond is is it Leon Brooks? If you remove Draymond from Golden State right now, oh yeah, most definitely.
I think the past 3 seasons though.
Yeah, most past 3 seasons definitely. But I'm just saying, like, before Draymond's career started going down, which I feel was from when we signed KD, like they didn't need him offensively. Like he was maybe like the seventh option because there was Steph, there was Clay, there was
Livingston,
KD, there was
Iguodala.
Livingston, there was Iguodala. Like so, just like bro, Drummond had no business trying to score. And again, like the whole point of like if you're playing basketball, you're going through 3 seasons where like you're only attempting to score when it's like oh maybe they've somehow done ball movement and ball got to you because you're the free man. Yeah, bro, like you're going to get worse at it. Like whatever you're doing in training is never going to be sufficient enough to like keep your
For sure.
for a level
sure.
your level up.
True.
So I think that's for me. I think that's really it, man.
Yeah.
That's it about Draymond.
That was I think should we end it here or do you want us to continue?
I guess one last thing to ask, maybe we can end it with this is who's been your most impressive NBA team so far this season?
And player as well. I want to hear
Okay,
from
and
you
player,
guys. Like
actually.
who is for me, team just off the top of mind, I would say Philly, man. Like I'm really impressed with how they've moved on from James Harden. I love the leap that Tariq Maxey has taken. I think he's going to be an all-star, hopefully,
Maxey,
with how
yeah,
he's playing.
if he keeps on going at this level.
And Embiid, man, Embiid is just a solid player, to be honest. Like I know we give him a lot of stick for not being the guy when it comes to the playoffs. I don't think he's had the right pieces. I think the one time he did, Kawhi kind of like broke their hearts, But Embiid has kind of solidified himself as that like top big in the league. I mean, outside of Jokic, but it's one and one to be fair. And player, I think the most impressive player for me is I don't know. I want to go for Jason Tatum, man. I feel like he just finds a way to like get better every year, and that's really hard for a lot of players to do.
Yeah.
I just see some form of like leadership, like accountability from himself every single season where it's like they lose, people expect them to win, and you expect them to come back on some like depressive shit. But it's just like, nah, we lost that season. All right, we're going again.
Yeah.
Like we're going again. We're going to get better. I'm going to get better. I'm going to lead the team in a, like to be better than we were last year. And I think that shows in his game, but also in like their winning like streaks. I know they just lost last night, but they've been amazing, and Jason Tatum has been the primary catalyst to that. So very impressive to see, for sure.
Yeah. Andrew, over here.
OKC, OKC has been amazing so far. Even when they played us, it was nice. It was nice to see a team that actually deserves to win. So OKC has been nice. And player, I'll say, I want to go with Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler anyways. Like you expected him to do this anyway. So I'll just say Pascal impressed me twice this season. Raptors did some amazing comeback. It was impressive. But overall, I'll say SGA. SGA is still on that grind, bro. It's getting those points.
Yeah, I was going to say like Pascal, like has had a couple good games of recent, but bro, he started the season so bad.
Yeah, but I know.
Like
for real?
Like 8 points.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 34 and 8.
I was thinking.
No, but he's had some games where he's been really good for them in the clutch, like 30 plus points, like.
Yeah, but that was just recent, like the last like 5-6 games.
Yeah,
like,
versus Washington, I think.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, my pick 2 is
SGA.
OKC and SGA, bro. Like OKC, like they're balling, and it's such a young team, bro. And SGA is leading that team. You get what I'm saying? And bro, SGA is my after Curry, that's my second favorite player in the league. Like he's so good. Another impressive thing about him for me is how like he's not a heavy 3-point shooter or anything. Like the games where he might not even attempt, but and he averages like almost 30, if not around 30 points a game.
Does.
Like you get what I'm saying? It's like that guy is so good.
The role players like Giddy and Co, they also know what to do.
Chet has balling.
Chet has finally started.
That's a team that every player kind of knows their role.
Yeah.
They have a leader. They have a leader, and then everyone else.
Team, it's surprising how how they've all taken like their positions and all that and their role in the team. And that team to definitely shout out is Timberwolves because
Oh yeah, thank
they've
you.
been
Oh yeah, Ant
pretty
has
good.
been impressive,
They've been pretty
man.
good.
And
Cats,
but
even Cats has been impressive.
yeah, but Ant, I'm not really surprised because we saw him in Team USA, and like Ant is one of those guys that doesn't hide his hunger at all.
Yeah.
Like
Future
he's
SG.
people, a lot of people have said that, but
Yeah.
then he's attacking every single superstar. Like
Yeah.
he's going at everyone. Like even the game where he played against Jason Tatum, he was like saying how after Jason Tatum scored or something like that, he was like, "Yo, I played defense. I just have 5 fouls," and then in overtime he went crazy. But just seeing that kind of hunger within players, like that edge as well that they have, is so like interesting to see, man. Like,
and one more thing to add, just since we're talking about like those players, like the young players, next stars or superstars, those guys are fearless,
for sure.
right? And even SJ, right? Like recently, SJ posted essentially like on Instagram, like guy,
Like three
guy,
posts.
he had like
cooking
eight,
curry.
he had like 8 pictures or whatever in his slide. Guy, at least 5 were scoring. He gave a picture of the block. He gave a video of it. He gave like bro, picture, video, like bro. And the thing is, I always say how like people, some people, maybe some people don't realize, but Corey talks a lot of smack, bro.
During the game,
Bro, like he's not just he doesn't shout, but you know what I'm saying? Like he's not aggressive.
probably under his voice because you never really see him like
he talks smack to these guys direct. Like, do you get what I'm saying? And I guess like to a certain extent, like he loves it. He loves it as well. So just like something like this where SJ is posting this, for anyone that knows, like it's not a beef thing. Do you get what I'm saying? It's more, you know what I'm saying? It's more like SJ, maybe like again, they probably have some conversation just like like I got you this time type vibe. Next game, Corey's going to come like, okay now. And when they ask a lot of these point guards, like the other point guard they are looking forward to like playing the most, like a lot of them is Corey. Like even like De'Aaron Fox, Jam Morant, like all these guys, they love it. I remember last playoffs too, when Warriors stole game 1, like he went to, luckily Camera and Mike caught it, which he hardly ever does with Corey. You know, he goes and he's like, this is gonna be fun, right? And
Jamorant?
No, Corey told that to Jamorant and Jaren.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then when they made the 1-1, Jamorant went back to him and said, yeah, this shit is gonna be fun. Like you get, and that seemed, especially with the young players for some reason, like he talks smack with those guys a lot.
No, it makes sense because like if you remember, there's this story about Corey and Kobe. Where Corey during the 3 on Kobe.
Oh yeah.
And Kobe like respected him, like clapped him back. So it's like Corey has seen, like Kobe was his own idol to watch, like when he was coming into the league. And these players, they watch Corey change the league. So like to them it's like a big deal.
And
I think it's so dope because Corey is still in his peak.
Yeah,
like he's still playing against. Yes, for sure. He's still in his peak. Like Corey isn't on his decline.
Like
bro,
definitely is.
A guy that is 35, averaging 30 plus. Like, that is a peak. Like if that's not in your peak, I don't know what that is.
Like I don't
know what I'm saying.
Maybe I'm mixing it up, but it's in his prime. But it's like it's essentially how like they say in your prime. Your prime is not 1 year, it's not 2 years. Your prime is typically like the best years of
maybe the wrong word. Yeah, he's still in his prime, not in his peak.
Corey,
not at his
Corey
peak. Yeah,
is still in his prime until he drops from averaging 30 points, 28, 29 points to like 22. He's still in his prime, bro. Like he's still one of the best players in the league. Not peak.
Yeah, so he's definitely in his prime. And I would say that, Curry is one guy that is always going to show up against these younger players. It's not like a Dylan Brooks, LeBron type of situation where like LeBron is literally cooking this guy, and then like LeBron is cooking him every time they play, and LeBron wins for the most part. But then there's still so much like these guys are seeing Corey as like, yo, I want to beat this guy so that I could be the next. Like SGA probably in his mind, you can't tell him Corey's better than him right now.
Yeah, he won't agree. And they look forward to those matchups because like if I meet Corey and I cook him or I drop 30 on his head, I drop 35 on his head, like yes, everybody's going to see that.
It's validating himself.
Yes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't care if he's playing defense or not. Like yeah, man, I dropped 35 on Corey's head.
Corey said, back to that Kobe video. Corey said after the game was done, he went to the camera and told him he needs that clip.
He was so happy about that. He was so happy about it.
That's how they feel as well. They're doing it to him.
But yeah, man. So, anyways,
I have a question before we end.
Yep.
So football has clearly transitioned from Ronaldo and Messi phase. Like we can accept it.
Okay, I think I can
Right? We
agree.
already know the next people that are taking over. We know it's Mbappe, Haaland, and probably Vinny. So
Bellingham and all those
Bellingham.
guys. Yeah.
no, Vinny. Vinny can't put in the conversation. Yeah, that's not a great season, doesn't mean.
Okay, I mean,
But anyways, but you
okay,
get what I
yeah, I
mean.
get what you're
Like we
trying to say.
have like
Yeah,
rising stars
yeah,
that
yeah.
we know who they are. So for the NBA, who are your like top 3 rising stars that are literally coming to carry the trophy?
Under what age?
Under 23, like 24.
Well, that's going to be hard because I don't know all their ages to be exact, but
Just young players.
young,
Like,
but young
very young
players.
players.
You told me, go ahead.
Edwards, Luca. Luca is still young. That's what people don't
Yeah,
realize. Luca has like 10 more years of prime Luca.
yeah.
So Luca, Anthony Edwards, and Tatum, I think is 25, 26.
Yeah.
But the third guy I'll throw in there is probably Wembayama, man.
Wemby's annoying me.
Yeah,
Think-
Wembayama is gonna be there for a minute. I'm telling you right now. Like he might not be having like the best start to the season because again that team is extremely young, and they're probably still figuring it out. But like Wembayama is gonna be a problem for.
At the moment, there's no difference between Wemby and Chet. It's just like 2 inches, but there's no difference in the gameplay.
Chet is playing a little better, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it is. Like it's more efficient, it's more whatever. But for me, I'll go Edwards, Luca, SG.
SGA is younger than 24.
Yeah,
Is he?
SG is not that old.
What about you, Andrew?
Edwards.
Oh, he's 25.
Kemi is older than I thought it was actually. Oh, shout out to Lamelo too, sure.
Lamelo is there, bro. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Lamelo ball.
Lamelo's been averaging 30 for like
Yeah,
the
that-
past
that
10
boy-
games,
that boy
right?
is
He's
good.
good.
I
I thought it was a joker because he plays very like lackluster and stuff like that. He just plays very
Yeah.
freely. It's kind of like how Jordan Poole.
Too.
Yeah, because of how like Jordan Poole said, "Oh, I want my own team, my own style of play." That's what we want to see. Like, if you want your own style of play, do something with it, right? Which is what Lamelo is doing. But yeah, that guy is definitely in there for sure. I thought it was all hype because of his dad and everything,
Yeah.
but he's
Lamelo's a baller, bro.
Yeah, the baller.
He's a baller, but I feel like I don't see the consistency, but hopefully.
I feel team
Yeah,
matters.
hopefully he gets it. But yeah, just for me, just Edwards and SG.
Yeah, and I guess to round up, man, Poole is a joker, bro. He and Kuzma, they are clowning, and I always say how like guys think it's easy to be the first or second option when the defensive focus is on you. That's when
you're
we
gonna
really
feel
see
it.
how
You're gonna feel
That
it.
guy's, I think, has got maybe 120 points, 2 or 3 20-point
Poole,
games this season.
he had a 30-point game the last
Yeah,
one, but it was
yeah.
terrible. Like,
So
they
just
lost by like 20 points.
You guys, like, bro, when you're the focus, it's all sweet when they're defending Curry, they're defending Clay, and you're getting open looks. Spacing, people underestimate how much spacing on the floor helps you. It's like, bro, when everybody's in your face every single time, first of all, like, you take it takes you more energy to like do stuff now because you have to free yourself up more and whatnot. But yeah, not to go into that.
You know who's been actually decent? Kuzma. Kuzma has actually been
doing
decent
very
for
well.
them. Like,
I would say more than decent. Like he has been playing really well.
pretty good. But
But yeah, man, I think that's it for today. Anyone want to add anything else?
Yeah, just like, share, subscribe, press all the buttons, comments. Go on our Instagram if you watch all our videos, drop comments that we respond to your comments.
Yeah, and share with your friends. Yeah.
check us out on TikTok as well. We're trying to make a push there. So love for you guys to.
Thank you for everyone that has been viewing and sharing.
Yep.
Like we appreciate the love, we appreciate the support.
Definitely. And if there's anything you ever want to see or hear us talk about or do, also always feel free to share comments, DMs. Yeah.
Let us know. Peace.
Anyways, peace, guys. Thanks for watching.